All right, we'll call the meeting to order at 1:30, July 29th. Pledge of allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, we'll do the roll call now over here.
Campbell,
Should be excused.
Pacino,
Here.
Davidson,
Here.
Class, here, Cruz, here.
Okay, public input. Hearing none. We'll move on to new business. Obviously, we're here to discuss the applications for building inspector. I've asked Dave, he's our temporary building inspector from Monitor Township, who's been working with us since Tobias got sick the first round, and then he stayed with us until we pick one out. I've asked him to look the applications over. What do you got?
It's lit up. I'm not sure why. Doesn't seem like there's anything on it.
It's red. I don't know why.
I guess we'll just do
Maybe
that.
somebody bumped it.
Yeah, maybe I bumped it. I don't know. I just noticed
And,
it. Sorry.
I've asked him to look the applications over, and then, of course, I mentioned that if you guys had any questions, so I don't know if you want to start with the applications, and obviously there's a couple of them that's not as qualified as,
Well, let me start with that. I think there's what, 5 applications?
yeah.
3 of them, excuse me, 3 of them are qualified. One looks like he can be qualified, and the other one, I don't see how he could become qualified. It calls for, I just happened to come across it today looking for something else. Minimum of 6 years in construction, either as licensed or general contractor or like a foreman or superintendent. Looking at the one, I don't see any of that, and he'd have to go to the state, which is their decision, not mine. But I sat in on one down there in Lansing one time where the guy had 20 years of remodeling, and it wasn't good enough. They needed him to have built houses from the ground up, show at least 6 years or 6 minimum house permits in his name, okay? And so that, would qualify him. The one applicant here looks like, and I think I know him from being a building inspector, Nathan. I think he's got enough qualifications that he probably could get approved and get his license, which we desperately need. Some young blood, because us old guys are getting older.
Well, maybe I didn't mention it to you guys, but Dave he doesn't want the job.
Right.
So he's agreed to stay with us until we find somebody.
Yeah, I got Monitor, I'm gonna keep them. Franklin List, all I do for them is zoning, and that's close to home. And from Freeland to here is quite a jaunt. And like I said, I don't need any more work. My tail's dragging now, but I want to help out, and I have no problem doing that.
So
Now,
one of the other things is our zoning administrator has also retired.
correct, and I can cover that when we go over each one.
So if you can tell us, if they're qualified, well,
Yep.
there's really no big qualifications. It's interpreting the ordinances and stuff like that.
Mhm.
I don't know if there's any license to be a zoning
Nope,
administrator.
none.
But, all right, so how do you want to handle this? You want to ask the questions, or you want to go one application at a time, or?
I need to go back for the minutes. 6 years of what do they need to be qualified?
At least, general contracting, which is commercial construction, and like a foreman or superintendent level, and then residential builder's license. You might be able to, again, it's a state, I'm not gonna try and interpret or guess, but you might, if you work on a big enough residential crew and you're the superintendent or foreman, that might qualify also. But again, you have to provide all the documentation to get a license.
Okay.
And now I guess there is a examination you have to pass also.
Okay.
So I have a few questions for you.
Yep.
Les, you work with him in Frank and West,
Yes.
correct?
Okay, but let me
So-
stop. My thought was we'll take one application at a time. So
Okay.
if you want, if Les is the one you want to start, I handed these all over in an order, but obviously when you look through them, they don't come back in an order, so.
That's
Just-
fine. If you want to do less, that's whatever.
Okay, I'm
Yep.
just saying we'll do one
Yep.
at a time.
And that's fine, I just
Yep.
figured I'd start
Okay.
somewhere.
Yep.
Okay, so you work with him in Frank and West.
Yeah, it's been a short time. So,
Okay.
you know,
Well, like how short of a time? When did he start in Frank and
2
West?
weeks.
Okay, because he is listed on the website, but he didn't list it on his resume, so I was curious.
So it's been only like 2 weeks
Okay.
since he took over.
In addition to that, I don't see anything in this brief resume that talks about having an inspector's license or a builder's license or anything.
He is licensed online. He is a building inspector. Now,
Okay,
I had a question that I brought up with Sam about, I was led to believe years ago that every municipality had to have a building official. I have done extensive research lately, and I can't find that anywhere, including the state couldn't find that. A building official, you can't become until after 2 years of being a building inspector.
okay.
And then it's basically the only difference is you have to take more classes. But a building official then in a bigger municipality is then the department head
Okay.
with the inspectors underneath him. So I guess I was, unless it changed, I can't find anything in writing on it. So a building inspector would qualify, as the code says, building official / inspector.
Okay.
He is registered building inspector,
Okay.
okay?
All right, but you don't know him well since you've only been working with him for a couple of
Right,
years.
I guess from what I understand, he used to do code enforcement for the city of Bay City. Yeah,
In what township is he working?
Frank and Lust now.
Frank and Lust.
And
And
Beaver.
Williams. Well, he's got Williams listed
And
here.
in Williams.
Oh, Beaver as well?
I believe he is,
I thought
yes.
somebody else said they were Beaver. I thought it was Carl.
Well, Carl, but he couldn't be it before he got his
Mm.
inspector's license. Carl definitely is the zoning administrator out there.
Yeah, he says.
But-
zoning admin. And so,
I don't know if Les or Carl is the building official there now. I can't tell you that.
he just has zoning administrator, but
Right.
it says it's only been about a year, a little over a year that he's
Yep.
been there as
Mhm.
zoning administrator.
Yep.
Okay.
I know Carl is a builder, and now, again, I'm glad somebody young is taking the initiative to get his building inspector. I've got a guy down, he's the instructor at the Bayer Next Skill Center, that I think's gonna go for his license too, which is good, like I said. I'm the youngest one in Monitor. The other two are in their 80s, so
Yeah,
it's,
it's definitely been a little bit of a drought.
it's time, yep.
Okay. Anybody else have questions on Les?
Are you gonna categorize them now, or when we're done with the questions?
Let's do it when we get done, okay?
I don't have any more questions for unless you. No?
No? questions, or you just to move to the next?
We'll just move to the next one.
Okay, Nathan. Are you?
That's
Nathan?
me.
That's what I thought. Okay, according to this letter, there is still a process taking place for the building inspector's license through the
Correct.
state of Michigan. What
Correct.
is the potential end date to receive that?
Just waiting on them. So paperwork submitted, they approve it, and then once they send me the approval, then I can go online and take the exam, which I believe it's 75%
Okay.
passing score, so shouldn't be a problem.
Okay.
And just so you know that if we pick somebody that needs to maybe finish to get to this point, Dave said he would stay.
I would stay on as the official of
License.
record, you know, until
Yeah.
Okay.
that individual gets his or her license.
Okay.
They don't give you though an exact time of when they're going to.
No, the state doesn't, or the state's the state, so they kind of give you a window, but that's it, so.
Are we in the window?
I'm just waiting on them, so.
And just to clarify our process here, we're just reviewing today to determine who we want to interview to appoint. I mean, that's how it's listed as review. That's how it's posted as review. That's how it's on the agenda as review, so I just wanted to.
We can do it that way. I think we need to speak of a couple things once we get to like a first and second place.
Okay. Well, you know, the middle of the day meeting isn't really the greatest time, and we only have one person here, so we can't exactly interview. Maybe we can request them for interviews. Okay.
Well, I wasn't sure with the applications whether we would need to technically interview. And one, I did mention to anybody, or all five of them, that if they wanted a closed session, I would give it to them. If they didn't, then they were free to do it. But I might have even mentioned to you that we weren't planning on interviewing at the time.
Yeah, that's fine. I just figured that if you were having a meeting, if there was any questions, that I could answer them. So here I am. This is me.
Yeah, I appreciate that. So you haven't done any inspecting up until this point?
No.
Okay.
Not until this position opened up that it didn't really dawn on me until then. So when this opened up, I'm like, well, I live a mile away. You know, I've owned my own business for 20 years. So, you know, maybe it's, time to look down that road. So that's when I got a lot more serious about it. So
So when did-
Nathan, thank you for your service.
thank you.
When did you start the process with the state then to get this license?
2 weeks ago.
2 weeks ago, okay. All right.
You're still building,
Correct.
correct? So if you were to get the job, would you be available to have office hours here?
Well, I would do, I think the last one stopped in and out. Is that correct?
Unless you had to meet somebody. Then
Right, yeah, I mean,
here or on site or.
I'd like to see somebody
Correct.
who could give us at least a few hours a week.
Yeah, an hour or two in the morning or whatever. I know code enforcement does 7 to 9 in the morning, something like that. That's not a problem. So it just depends on how many people are coming and going, I guess. So
Do you realize that being a builder and still building, you are not allowed to inspect your own work?
that's fine. I could have area code enforcement or somebody
Yeah, because you're not
for this
allowed to.
township.
You can't inspect your own work.
You are a comedian.
The fox watching the chicken coop.
Would you be willing to be the zoning administrator also?
Possibly.
25 years, I'm still learning.
No.
Any other questions for Nathan? Dave?
Well,
We can move on.
okay.
Number 3.
Carl. Carl had the same, what's that?
I thought you did Carl
No,
order.
we did
No.
less.
Yeah,
Oh, that's right, I'm sorry.
yeah, no, that's okay, we're just out of order here, but it's all good. So I believe, I'm trying to find it, okay. So Carl has the same situation where he's applied to the state of Michigan.
This
No,
is his license
This is his license,
Well-
he's got it now.
attached, yep. When he applied,
Okay,
he,
so it was
Yeah,
after,
it was
okay,
after.
that's what I wanted to double check on, make
Yep.
sure.
so now he is an inspector. And by the license, by the state, he is, like you said, got a year of zoning administrator experience. And Beaver Road, I think he lives in Beaver Township.
Yeah. So it says that he is still operating his company as well.
Yes, I believe so.
Is he still doing hands-on? It looks like he is.
Well, I'm sure. In fact, I inspected his house when I was in Beaver Township.
Questions for Dave? In regards to Carl?
Do you know if he would be available for office hours anytime?
I can't speak to him, but I would imagine he could free up a few hours, you know?
It's something we're thinking about, but we've never had a building inspector here.
You, like me, I don't have set hours. I make appointments and meet the people instead of, because I have a full, well, no, she isn't, she's half-day administrative assistant. And the other half is the administrative assistant in the office is dual capacity. She can take care of, they kind of cross-train them.
Well, I would have to think, other than the actual building permits, most is done on site. Most is done on site, so.
However, you've incorporated some changes here that were welcome changes.
Well,
In that, you know, you're pausing on the issuing, you know, once the application comes in to make sure that what's being quoted as far as the price of the
That's
job
right,
is,
yeah.
I mean, we
Yeah.
can't just take money for a building permit without the know-how to know how much the
and,
job's actually
yeah,
gonna
and I
cost.
gave you what I used to come up with the value.
Okay.
And I do it the same for everybody. You know, same way. So there's no coming back saying, well, you did this for that guy, or, you know, whatever.
Yeah.
Nope, here it is. And sometimes, well, we had one builder didn't like the price that went down. My response was, then you build me that house for that price that you quoted, and I will buy it right now, cash.
Yeah.
And I couldn't do it. And I can justify where I come up with the value, because I've got documentation.
Okay.
Yeah, that's the big thing. You just, it's not pick and choose, it's just, it's all the same.
I think that the position, I mean, we have an opportunity right now to rethink the position a little bit because of the fact that we're losing the zoning administrator, because of the fact that we need a new building official. I do think, I agree, I think that there needs to be some time in the office so that the person is reachable, should there be any
Well, I don't
questions
think
instead
you
of
guys are
chasing
gonna
them
get
down.
as much time in the office as you think you are, because of, first of all, sometimes, and maybe not the guy we pick, but a lot of building inspectors are one or two townships, at least, because of the fact we're all getting older.
I could probably have 6 if I wanted.
Yeah,
6 townships,
Yeah,
yeah.
and then all 6 want 2 hours apiece?
yeah. I got that.
But, yeah,
So,
But
but are you asking that you want time in the office for building inspector or zoning? Or
it could be a combination of both.
Combination
Yeah.
for both.
I think if we have the opportunity to put a structure in place right now, so
Yeah,
that
if
there's
the-
better communication.
Because what we've done